Welcome to the Highly Sensitive Podcast. I'm Lauren LaSalle, and I'm a former therapist. I'm a highly sensitive person and a self-care and empowerment coach for highly sensitive people. My goal for this podcast is to create a feeling of community, to be a supportive place for HSPs, and to normalize our experiences as highly sensitive people. Because I'm pretty sure we've all spent way too much time feeling like we're weird or don't fit in. Well, guess what? Here, you fit in perfectly. This podcast will give you tools to better understand yourself, to help you learn how to care for yourself as an HSP, and to start viewing your sensitivity as a strength. Thank you so much for joining me, and let's begin. Welcome. I feel like I haven't recorded an episode in a very long time, and that's probably because my laptop is old. And it lately has decided that sometimes it just doesn't want me to record things or edit audio. So I am supposed to have a new laptop come in tomorrow, which is Friday, the day before this episode comes out. And I have not even been notified that it's been shipped yet. So who knows? I figured I would try and go ahead and record something now, and hopefully it will let me do that because I don't think I'm going to have any other options. But here we are. So anyway, welcome to the podcast. Before I get into the episode content, I have a few updates, and I've been doing a lot of sort of behind the scenes work when it comes to my programs, the direction I want my business to go in, what kinds of programs I would like to either add or change or refine. So that's been really exciting. First, I want to tell you about changes to the Empowered HSP membership and community. So here's what we've had in the community and the membership. We have been doing monthly live small group calls where you can connect with other HSPs, get support. It's really fun. We have a great time. We talk about things that we probably don't talk about with anyone else. And so far, I think the most people we've had at a meeting at one time is about 6. So it's very nice. As the membership and community grows, I am committed to keeping the small group numbers small so that everybody can feel really comfortable sharing and connecting. We have a private supportive community online where you can post questions, get support. I sort of post some prompts and some fun self-care activities on there once in a while. We have a monthly self-care strategy where I post every month, as it sounds like, a different self-care strategy that you can try out, and hopefully if you enjoy it, implement it into your life. There is a library of meditations that is always growing. There are meditations for sleep, boundary setting, affirmations, all kinds of different meditations on there. There are also journal prompts for boundary setting and self-care. What I am adding now, what I have added, is starting in April next month, we are going to have monthly live trainings, either run by myself or by a guest speaker. So I'm super excited about this. We will do about a half hour to an hour training live for you to come to if you would like, if you're part of the membership and community, about just a variety of different topics pertaining to HSPs. And if you're in the community, you can always let me know what topics you would like us to cover, and I will try my best to make those happen. So I'm very excited about the monthly live trainings. We also have a trainings library in there that right now has a couple of my masterclasses that I've done, but we will be uploading all of those monthly live trainings. So if you can't attend live and you would still like to see them, they will be there no matter when you join. If you decide to join the membership and community a year from now, you will have all of those trainings from the past year up there that you can watch as well. So that's pretty exciting. I also have added some mini courses to the membership. There's one up there for mamas called The Highly Sensitive Mama's Guide to Sustainable Self-Care. And if you're not a part of the membership, you can still access this. It's only $13. It's a great way for highly sensitive moms to try to incorporate some more self-care into their lives. And I also have another mini course about self-acceptance that I'm not sure if I've made it live to the public yet, but I did let my community test it out and give me feedback on that. So I will link to all of the stuff in the episode description, of course, but the monthly live trainings and mini courses are new additions to the membership and community. If you are not a part of it already and would like to join, we would love to have you there. It's only $33 a month or $365 a year. That's literally $1 a day for all of these HSP resources that I have curated and connection, both in the forum and live on Zoom meetings with other HSPs. So it is so worth it. Always let me know if you have any questions. I would love for you to be a part of that. My waitlist for one-to-one coaching for highly sensitive moms of young children is open. I will start working with these clients in the fall, like around November is when I'm coming back from maternity leave. So I will be reaching out to people from the waitlist around that time. I did have somebody join the waitlist who is hoping to get pregnant anytime now. And so she's planning in advance for having a baby. So if that's also you and you know that you want to get pregnant or you are pregnant and you know you need some extra support after your baby's born, please join the waitlist. There's no commitment to the program by joining the waitlist. It's just letting me know that you are interested and we can have a conversation about the program more once I'm back from maternity leave. But I thought that was a great idea that she did that. Pretty cool. I'll get into this a little bit more in a different episode, but the Sensitive Self-Care Collective is changing, and I'm going to have the next round in January of 2026, and I'm very excited for the changes that are coming to it. So right now, it was a 12-week at your own pace comprehensive self-care course for HSPs. And what I have decided is that instead of trying to figure out how to implement these things on your own, or as I was initially doing at the end of the course, I'm going to make a live component for the Sensitive Self-Care Collective for the next round, which I think is going to be really cool. So what it will look like is there's a pre-recorded module for each, 10 pre-recorded modules and a couple bonus ones too. But the first week, for example, you will listen to the first module. The second week of the program, we will meet live to talk about implementing these tips and strategies and things that I talk about in the module, as well as I can answer any questions that people have. But I think this is going to be a really good way to start implementing things along as you go along, rather than feeling like, okay, I have so much information and now I feel really overwhelmed. So I'm so excited about this. If you want to know more about the Sensitive Self-Care Collective and sign up for the wait list, because that is now open, I will put a link in the episode description about that. So that should be so fun. I'm so excited to have a live component for that. Okay, so you've probably noticed that I talk a lot about being a mom, and that's one of the reasons why I've decided to shift part of my business to working with moms, especially moms of littles, because that's sort of my world right now with the 2.5-year-old and one on the way. So today's episode is about your intuition as a mother. So if you are a mother or you would like to be a mother, I think this would probably be worth listening to. If anyone else would like to listen to it as well, of course, maybe you'll learn something. Totally fine. I am niching down a little bit. I think I am going to be having 1 week for my episodes. I'm going to do like a regular episode, and then on the off weeks, so it'll be alternating, I will do a mom focused episode. So it'll be a little more organized, but I still need to figure that out. I'm still recording weekly as I go along, so not releasing every single week because I just have so much happening. But anyway, that's my plan for the future. I feel like I'm just brain dumping on you right now, so hopefully all of this is like sort of organized and making sense to you. But anyway, so today I'm just going to talk a little bit about maternal intuition because it's a real thing. And it's very powerful, and I know that you hear about it a lot, but I didn't quite get it until I became a mom. And even though we have this intuition, it can be really easy to doubt yourself, just like regular intuition, right? Sometimes you have a gut feeling, but you still don't listen to it, or you listen to outside influences, and you don't go along with your intuition. So it can be really easy to doubt yourself. It can be really easy to feel overwhelmed by advice from outside people, especially when you have a baby or you're a first-time parent and people are talking about sleep. You should sleep train them. They have to sleep in their own room. You need to not hold your baby so much. You're holding them too much. You're giving them too much attention. You need to socialize them more. You need to, I don't know, only breastfeed them, or you need to give them just a bottle, or you need to do this, you need to do that. It's crazy the amount of outside information that people try, and they try to give you advice, right? Based on what they've done. There are so many people that are experts when it comes to certain aspects of raising a child or a baby. And I don't want to say I'm totally discrediting them. It can be helpful to turn to experts sometimes. Sometimes it sort of validates your intuition and you say, okay, what I felt like I needed to do in this instance is what this person is saying. So that helps me feel better. But what I've found is that pretty much just doing what felt right for me, for my daughter, for our family is what works. And so I sort of put down the books. I don't really, I take all advice with a grain of salt. And I've really been mothering from my gut, from my intuition. And so far, for almost 3 years, it's worked really well. So I felt like it was an important thing to talk about. This is also something that I am going to be working on with my mom clients, my one-to-one clients, is how to intuitively be a mom. So maternal intuition is not about being perfect or always knowing the answer. It's your inner wisdom which guides you in the moment, and it comes from your deep connection with your child, because of course it's so important to have a connection to your child. And being highly sensitive, I think we could have an even deeper connection. We can pick up on things that other people might not pick up on in our child, especially if we're really connected to them. We can tell pretty quickly maybe what they need or how they're feeling before other people can. And that is such a benefit. That is such a positive part of being highly sensitive. And it's so great for our kids too, because we can just know sometimes. We just get a feeling. We just know what they need. And when that's right, it's like, wow, this is awesome. I knew this. I had a feeling and I was right. And it's really, really validating as a mom to be able to trust your gut and get reinforcement that that's the right thing to do. Some reasons why you might struggle to trust your maternal intuition is because you're used to second guessing yourself. I think that's very common for so many of us. Maybe you've been conditioned to look for outside validation, so you turn to books or other people that have raised children, your parents, friends, whoever it is. You just go with what they say instead of feeling from within what feels right for you. Another reason why you might struggle to trust your intuition is because you just feel so overwhelmed by too much information. And what I found when I was pregnant with my daughter was that so many people try to give you advice, or they say, oh, wait until this happens, wait until this happens. And most of the time, I did not have the same experience as them. For example, oh, wait until she starts walking. My husband and I were both thrilled when she started walking because we don't have to pick her up and plop her down somewhere else anymore. Yeah, she wanders around, but it was really nice having a mobile child. So that's just an example. But if that sounds familiar to you, let me know. I mean, I'd love to connect with all of you moms, especially moms of young kids or even moms of older kids who maybe could give us some insight on raising an older child, like from your intuition too. Please message me on Instagram. I'll put the link in the episode description. I'd love to connect with all of you. I'm hoping to build a community of moms, of highly sensitive moms. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love to connect. Let me know. I know I did an episode recently about how to strengthen and connect to your intuition. So this is just sort of like a recap. Maybe you didn't listen to it and maybe it's not a recap. But one thing you can do is pause and tune into yourself before you seek external advice. So really see if you can get a sense for yourself first of what feels right to do before you ask other people. And really, I think sometimes just don't ask other people because you might not like what they have to share, or you might take that with more weight than your own intuition. Try to notice when something feels off, even if you can't explain why. And after all of this, I'm going to sort of talk about things that I've done to be a mom to follow my intuition. But yeah, notice when something feels off, even if you're not sure why. That gives you a big clue about maybe the direction to go in. Reflect on if your gut has been right before, and chances are it has. Maybe you haven't even noticed it, but start to really try to tune into your intuition and notice if your gut is telling you things that are correct. Give yourself permission to parent in a way that feels good to you. You are the parent. It is your family. It is your children. Ultimately, as long as it's safe, like nobody's in danger, everybody's getting fed, everybody's getting what they need. Give yourself permission to do what feels good to you and good for your family. I think that's so important. All the outside information, just let that fall away. Just do what feels good to you. So I just want to sort of talk about areas of being a mom where I followed my intuition and it has worked really well for us. And this by no means that, like, I'm not saying that you need to do these same things at all. And I'm not saying that if you do something the complete opposite way that from me, that is wrong, because everything is different for everybody. So these are just some examples of my intuition as a mother and how it has worked for us. So one thing that comes to mind is sleeping. So I know that's like a big thing. Everybody always asks you, like, how's the baby sleeping? Because that can be a real struggle. And you can really lose sleep. And as an HSP, it is so important for us to get enough sleep. And sometimes that's really hard when you have a baby or a toddler. And so when I was pregnant with my daughter, my husband and I were both like, there's no way that she's sleeping in bed with us. Like, ever. We do not want that. That is not something that's happening. And then after she was born, she ended up sleeping in bed with us because I was so tired. I mean, you have to wake up multiple times a night to nurse your baby so they gain enough weight. And so you just, like, you have to do that. You have to wake up multiple times to feed them. And so we were already doing that. And sometimes I would go I think I would nurse her about 3 times a night. And it was usually the third feeding that I would put her back in her bedside bassinet, and she would not be able to go back to sleep. And so I would just put her in bed with us, and I learned about how to safely co-sleep with an infant. And once she outgrew her bassinet, she just slept in bed with us. I mean, I think the stretches of time she was in bed with us just kept getting longer until, yeah, she didn't fit in her bassinet. And so she just slept in bed with us for the whole night. And it worked. And she's still sleeping in bed with us. We are going to try to transition her into her bedroom, which is right next to ours, luckily. And before she decided to drop her nap, which is a whole different thing, but she did nap in her bed in her room. So she has gotten used to sleeping in there a little bit, but I think we're going to try to transition her into there because now that I'm pregnant, my stomach is taking up more of the bed too. So we only have a queen bed for 3 of us right now. And apparently toddlers are like cats and dogs where they just take up more space than you feel like they physically should be able to. But anyway, I just heard so much about especially from older parents, like you have to just let them cry it out. You have to put them in their own room. They'll be upset, but you just have to let them cry and just like grit your teeth through that night and just let them do it. And then they'll sleep there fine. And that felt so wrong to me because one of my main goals is to have a secure connection with my child, for her to feel securely attached, just to develop secure attachments, to know that if she is calling for us, we will be there. And the thought of doing cry it out, just it feels so wrong to me. And if you do that and it worked, I'm so happy for you. And that's fine. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's wrong for us. And that's an instance where I really felt like her sleeping in bed with us works. I actually get way more sleep because I'm not going in and out of rooms all night. I'm just in bed the whole night. I can nurse her in bed. She just falls asleep there. We fall asleep together. It works. And like I said, there are a lot of resources out there actually now about co-sleeping safely. So if that's something that you are interested in doing, or you are doing, but you're not like sure if you're doing it like the right way, check those out. I'm connected with a lot on Instagram actually. So you could always like search for that on Instagram or wherever. But anyway, another instance where my intuition has felt really good, like I made a good choice, is to stay at home with my daughter, which is something I'd been planning on pretty much my whole life because my mom did that until I was maybe, I don't know, like 6th grade or 4th, 5th, 6th grade, she started working again. But I've always wanted to stay home with my kids, and my husband was totally on board with that. And we want to homeschool, and that just like, I'm just so much about the connection with my kids. And so not going back to work was something that intuitively just felt right. And I've been so lucky that I'm now able to have a business. I'm able to do something for myself where I can just do it from home for however long I want to really spend on it. I set my own schedule. I am in charge of everything. And that works for me because I really want to have, again, that connection with my kids and to foster secure attachment and to just be the emotional support that they need. So that felt really good for me. Being away from my daughter for an extended period of time does not feel good to me, like regularly, like going back to work. So that did not feel good to me. So being home with her really, really does feel very good to me. And I'm glad I followed my instincts with that one. I know I had more examples. I can think of 2 more. So when she was ready to eat solid food, her doctor said at 4 months, if she seemed ready, she could start. And she'd always been really into eating, like watching us eat and trying to use utensils sort of for herself. I let her have like a spoon and a bowl to sort of play with when she was a baby to sort of get used to like holding them and using them. And so to me, I could like, it just felt like she was ready. And then of course, you go and Google things, and from what I found, it was like a list of things showing that a baby's ready for solid food. And it was like all of the behaviors sort of that my daughter was showing, and that was very validating because I was like, okay, I did, this feeling was correct. And then very recently, within the past few weeks, my daughter has just not been napping. She did drop her second nap pretty early on, like way earlier than she was like quote unquote supposed to. And so I sort of wasn't surprised. Like, she does seem like she needs naps, but then she was deciding to do some quiet time instead and not nap. And I was sort of like, okay, this seems early. You're only 2.5, but she does fall asleep at bedtime really fast now. And it took over an hour, maybe an hour and a half most nights before when she was napping. And so I sort of felt like, well, if she feels like, I'm not going to force you to nap. You can't force somebody to sleep. So we'll just do some quiet time every day instead and see how that goes. And so then, of course, I like Google like age when kids drop naps and all that stuff. Like, how do you know when they're ready to drop a nap? Because sometimes you just feel like you need that validation. Like, she's my first kid. I don't really know what I'm doing. And so, yeah, everything was like, check. Yup. Okay, that did. I felt like just taking her lead. She was ready to drop naps, and this is validating what I was feeling too and noticing in her. So those are just some examples. I really feel like I had at least one more, and I of course didn't write it down. And so I don't know what it was, but I bet I will talk about it at some point. So wow, this was a pretty long episode. That's amazing. Honestly, I really do love talking about being a mom because it's truly the best thing that I've ever done in my life. And I really, like I was saying before, I really would like to start a community of highly sensitive moms, especially moms of young kids, so we can all support each other and be there for each other and learn from each other. So, whew. I can exhale now. I'm hoping my computer will allow me to edit this and get it all together and get it out for you for this weekend. So fingers crossed. Also, if you can cross your fingers that my new laptop is actually coming tomorrow, that would be great because as far as I know, it hasn't even been shipped yet. And I ordered it 2 weeks ago. So yeah, but anyway, I will see you in the next episode. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the Highly Sensitive Podcast. You can help support the podcast by taking a minute to rate and review it, share a favorite episode with a friend, or become a subscriber on Patreon at patreon.com/highlysensitivepodcast. Visit laurenlassalcoaching.com for free resources, information about my coaching programs, and to join my email list. You can connect with me on Instagram at selfcarewithlaurenlassalle or email me at lauren@laurenlassalcoaching.com.